On Christmas Eve, I came home without warning. I found my daughter shivering outside at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. No blanket to keep her warm. My son-in-law's family was laughing, toasting with champagne by the fireplace. I kicked the door open, holding my daughter in my arms, and said 6 words. I'm glad you're here. If you're watching this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're hearing my revenge story from. I want to know how far it's reached. I stepped out of the taxi. My heavy boots sank into the thick layer of snow outside my daughter's house in Boise, Idaho. The icy wind slapped my face like it wanted to peel my skin off, forcing me to pull up the collar of my coat. After years as a Taekwondo coach, I thought I was used to any challenge, from the sweltering heat of the dojo to the harshest winters, but this Christmas Eve cold made me shiver. I stood there in front of the warmly lit house, a mix of excitement and nerves swirling inside me. Today, I wanted to surprise Emily. I wanted to see my little girl's radiant smile when her mom showed up out of the blue. After so many months away, the front yard was buried in snow. Not a single footprint in sight, like no one cared enough to clear it. Through the big picture window, I could see the cozy glow spilling out from the living room, where cheerful Christmas music played from a Bluetooth speaker. The song Jingle Bells, Emily's favorite when she was a kid, filled the air. I stepped closer, trying to peek inside. A long table draped in a bright red tablecloth stretched out in front of me, loaded with traditional dishes. A golden roasted turkey, steaming plates of cornbread stuffing, a bowl of cranberry salad with shiny bits of apple and raisins, and glasses of red wine glinting under the lights. The Whitlock family, my son-in-law's folks, was gathered in full. I recognized Mr. Harold Whitlock, Ryan's dad, sitting with an air of authority, and Mrs. Evelyn Whitlock, his mom, holding a glass of wine with a smug smile on her lips. Ryan's sister Abigail was there too, with her 2 young kids laughing nonstop. They were all raising their glasses, toasting around the crackling fireplace. But where was Emily? I frowned, straining to see further inside, thinking maybe she was tucked in some corner. I'd pictured her smiling, chatting happily, like in the old days when she'd wrap her arms around my neck, telling me endless stories. Then I heard a noise, a faint whimper coming from the porch. I turned and my heart stopped. Under the dim light, next to a snow-covered poinsettia planter, she wore only a thin blouse, her frail shoulders shaking uncontrollably, her messy hair sticking to her forehead, damp from melted snow. I ran to her, my heart pounding like a drum. Emily, I shouted, my voice breaking with panic, toasting around the crackling fireplace. But where was Emily? I frowned, straining to see further inside, thinking maybe she was tucked in some corner. I'd pictured her smiling, chatting happily, like in the old days when she'd wrap her arms around my neck, telling me endless stories. Then I heard a noise, a faint whimper coming from the porch. I turned and my heart stopped. Under the dim light, next to a snow-covered poinsettia planter, Emily was curled up in an old wooden chair. She wore only a thin blouse, her frail shoulders shaking uncontrollably, her messy hair sticking to her forehead, damp from melted snow. I ran to her, my heart pounding like a drum. Emily, I shouted, my voice breaking with panic. I yanked off my coaching jacket and wrapped it around her with urgency. My trembling hands touched her arm. It was ice cold, like there was no warmth left in her. Emily lifted her face, her eyes red, her pale lips barely whispering, "Mom." Her voice was so faint, it almost dissolved into the air. And she collapsed against my shoulder. I hugged her tightly, feeling her body shake like a bird caught in a storm. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm here," I whispered, trying to sound calm, though tears burned in my eyes. I pulled an extra sweater from my bag and wrapped it around Emily, trying to share some of my warmth. I lifted her in my arms as her soaked slippers fell into the snow. leaving a messy trail. I held her close, feeling her weak breath against my neck. In that moment, all I wanted was to get her out of there. Away from the biting cold, away from whatever had brought her to this state. But then from inside the house, the laughter kept going, careless and cruel. I clearly heard Ryan's deep voice, smug and boastful, bragging about something. The whole table erupted in laughter, and the clinking of glasses sounded like distant, eerie music. They were happy, cozied by the fireplace, while my daughter, my own flesh and blood, was trembling outside in the cold, like she didn't deserve to be in that house. Just a few hours ago, I was at the Boise airport, still sweaty from a week of coaching the national taekwondo team. She held a candy cane and giggled happily. I watched them, a lump tightening in my throat. I'd carried Emily like that too. Held her hand through streets twinkling with Christmas lights. But now I was alone, pulling a heavy suitcase. Stepping out of the airport with an indescribable loneliness. I flagged a taxi, and with a voice hoarse from exhaustion said, "Take me to Meadow Creek, 12th Street." On the way, traffic was slow. The streets packed with people bundled in coats and scarves, heading to church for Mass. I stared out the taxi window at the warm lights glowing from houses along the road. Church bells rang faintly in the distance, mixed with a choir singing Silent Night somewhere nearby. I smiled, picturing Emily busy in the kitchen, making the mashed potatoes she'd learned from me. When the car stopped at an intersection, I glanced outside and spotted a group of cops directing traffic. Among them, I recognized Jake, a former student from my days teaching taekwondo at the local community center. He stood tall, confident in his police uniform, but still had that same kind smile. I rolled down the window and shouted, "Jake?" He turned, his eyes lighting up as he recognized me. "Miss Rose, you're back," he exclaimed, adjusting his police cap. I smiled, trying to hide my exhaustion. "Yeah, just finished training in Seattle. You still working in Boise?" Jake nodded, his smile bright. "Yup, traffic cop now." "You here for Christmas with family?" "With Emily," I said, my heart warming at the mention of my daughter. But then Jake's face froze. His smile faded. A flicker of doubt passed through his eyes like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Bad feelings sparked in me like a flame starting to spread. "What's wrong, Jake? Something up?" I asked, lowering my voice. He shook his head, forcing a smile. No, it's nothing, Ms. Rose. Just glad you're back." But his eyes betrayed worry. I wanted to press him, but the light turned green. The driver hit the gas and the car pulled away, leaving Jake watching me from the street, gripping the brim of his cap tightly. As we neared Emily's house, I asked the driver to stop a short distance from the gate. I wanted to surprise them, to see Emily's face when she found me standing at the door. I grabbed my suitcase and walked through the snow-covered path, my boots leaving deep prints. The golden glow from the houses around shone like lit candles. From a distance, I heard a guitar and singing coming from Emily's living room. I smiled, picturing her singing like when she was a kid, standing by my side, belting out Winter Wonderland with that clear voice. I left my suitcase on the step, took a deep breath, and got ready to knock. But then a mocking laugh cut through the air, sharp as a knife. I froze. My hand hovered, not touching the door. Mr. Harold Whitlock's deep, gruff voice boomed clearly. "That's what they call a dog. A woman who can't even have kids. What's she good for? Pretending to be sick just to get coddled. Pathetic." Each word stabbed my heart. I stood there paralyzed. My breath caught in my throat. This was how they treated my Emily, my daughter, who dreamed of a happy family, who poured her heart into every meal for her husband. Now they were humiliating her like this. For miscarriages, each one leaving her sobbing until she had no tears left during our phone calls. And now they said she was faking it. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. And that's when I saw Emily curled up in a wooden chair on the porch in just a thin blouse, her head bowed, her whole body trembling in the freezing cold. My eyes blurred with tears. My heart stopped. I scooped Emily into my arms. Her body was still shaking, cold as a block of ice. My hands trembled, too, not just from the bitter Boise night, but from the rage burning in my chest. Each step toward the Whitlock store felt like it carried 1,000 pounds. But I didn't stop. I pounded on the wooden door, my knocks firm, drowning out the Christmas music blaring inside. Jingle bells looped over and over, mocking the painful scene I just witnessed. No one came to open it. I gritted my teeth and banged harder like I wanted to knock the door down in one blow. Finally, the door swung open. Mrs. Evelyn stood there, a glass of red wine wobbling in her hand, her lips painted bright red, glossy under the light. The smell of alcohol wafted from her, but her face wore a forced smile, trying to seem polite. "Hey, Ms. Rose, what a surprise," she said, her voice syrupy, but fake, like I was an unwelcome guest. "Why didn't you let us know so we could roll out the red carpet?" I locked eyes with her, not bothering to hide my anger. "Let you know," I growled, each word hissing through my teeth. "If I'd let you know, how would I have seen this? What did you do to my daughter?" I held Emily tighter, feeling her faint breath against my shoulder. Each breath was a reminder I couldn't let this slide. Evelyn raised an eyebrow, glancing at Emily in my arms with a grimace, like she was looking at something annoying. "Emily just wanted some fresh air," she said, her tone soft but laced with contempt. "Don't make a big deal out of it. It's Christmas. Come in. Don't stand out in the cold." Her words hit me like a slap in the face. Fresh air. While my daughter was practically freezing outside in a thin blouse. Before I could respond, Ryan appeared behind his mother, his shirt unbuttoned, exuding deliberate nonchalance. He held a bottle of wine and shot me a defiant look. "Mom, close the door," he said, his tone dripping with arrogance, chin raised. "Let her stay out there till she gets over it. Who shows up to Christmas dinner, acting all fragile to get out of helping?" He let out a mocking chuckle, like he'd said something clever. Those words were another knife, not just in my heart, but in Emily's. I felt her body shrink in my arms like she wanted to vanish from the table. Abigail's voice rang out sharp and venomous. "Exactly. A woman who can't even carry a baby to term. What's she worth? Useless." Her laugh cut like a blade, mixing with the murmurs of others around the table. I heard Abigail's 2 kids, Emily's cousins, run out to the porch, curious. They looked at Emily in my arms, then giggled, whispering to each other, "Aunt Emily's in trouble." Their innocent little voices burned like salt in an open wound. My face flushed with rage. I rammed my shoulder into the door, then kicked it hard. The door flew open, slamming against the wall with a bang that silenced the room. Evelyn's wine sloshed, spilling red stains onto the expensive rug. The Christmas music stopped abruptly, like someone had yanked the speaker's plug. The air in the room turned heavy, suffocating, like all the oxygen had been sucked out. I stepped into the center of the living room, still holding Emily. Each step left a trail of melted snow on the hardwood floor, like marks of rage that couldn't be erased. Every eye was on me. Mr. Harold, his face cold. Evelyn, her fake smile gone. Abigail, her eyes full of disdain. The rest of the family, a mix of shock and annoyance. I felt their hostility in every glance, but I didn't care. Carefully, I settled Emily on the couch, draping my scarf over her shoulders. Her hands were still icy, trembling like the snow's cold still clung to her. I knelt, looking into her eyes, trying to give her some of my strength, though inside I was a storm of fury and pain. The Whitlock's living room was still brightly lit. The fireplace crackled, but the atmosphere was thick, like everyone was bracing for an explosion. Ryan stepped closer, his face red from the wine, his eyes gleaming with arrogance. He lowered his voice, cold, but still smug, like he owned the place. "You don't get to make a scene in my house, Rose," he said, emphasizing my house like he was reminding me I was an outsider. Ryan stood tall, one hand on his hip, his shirt half unbuttoned in a gesture of contempt. But in his eyes, I caught a flicker of uncertainty. He knew I wasn't someone easily intimidated. I shot to my feet, pointing straight at his face, my voice trembling with fury. "No, right," I snapped, "and you think you have the right to throw my daughter out into the cold, to let her nearly freeze to death?" My blood boiled in my head. Every word exploded from my chest. "Is that what you call a husband? Is that what you call family?" I glanced around at the banquet table, the plates still steaming, the wine glasses glinting like they were mocking. "Emily's suffering, Mr. Harold." Whitlock rose slowly from the head of the table, adjusting his suit jacket, his deep voice resonating with authority. "That's enough, Ms. Rose," he said. "This is a family matter. A woman who can't bear children needs to learn to endure. That's just how it is." His words hit like a sledgehammer, cold and cruel. I locked eyes with him, seeing the arrogance of a man who'd spent years as a judge, used to controlling everything. But today, he'd picked the wrong opponent. I glanced at the table where the roasted turkey still wafted its aroma, the cornbread stuffing neatly arranged, the wine sparkling under the lights. Then I looked at Emily, still shivering on the couch, her stomach faintly growling like a silent accusation. I couldn't hold back anymore. My voice erupted, sharp and cutting. "So you feast while my daughter's outside in 32 weather. No coat, no food. That's what you call tradition. That's what you call humanity." Evelyn shrugged, her smile icy, like I was blowing things out of proportion. "A woman who can't have kids, even if she eats, is just a waste," she said softly, her voice dripping with disdain. She raised her wine glass and took a sip, as if to show she didn't care one bit about my feelings or Emily's. Abigail chimed in from the table, her tone acidic, rubbing salt in the wound. "Your daughter always uses depression as an excuse to avoid work," she said. "In all this time, has she ever cooked a decent meal for the family? All she does is lie in bed whining, dragging everyone down." She shook her head, her eyes full of mockery, like Emily was a burden the whole Whitlock family had to bear. Murmurs from the relatives around the table grew louder. Some shook their heads. Others snickered as if they agreed with those venomous words. Every sidelong glance pierced my chest like another stab. I wanted to flip that fancy table over to demand justice for my daughter. But then a faint voice came from the couch. Emily, my little girl, had stirred. She tried to sit up, her trembling hands gripping the edge of the couch. "I'm so tired," she stammered, her voice breaking, barely audible. "No one understands." Her words were crushed instantly by Ryan's shout. "Enough," he barked. He barked. "Shut up. You've embarrassed me enough already." He stepped toward her, his gaze icy, like he wanted to shatter what little strength she had left. I saw Emily's shoulders slump, her red eyes brimming with tears, and my heart tightened. I stepped in front of her, ready to do whatever it took to protect her. Memories of Emily flooded my mind like an avalanche. I remembered the days she'd call me, sobbing over the phone. Each time she lost a child, the first, the second, the third, the fourth. With every miscarriage, her soul broke into pieces. She'd been a sweet girl who dreamed of a warm home, family dinners with her husband and kids. But the pain over and over had pushed her to the edge of despair. I tried to be there for her, even through long distance calls. But I never imagined the Whitlock family, the ones I trusted, would treat my daughter like this. Ryan, my son-in-law, who I once thought was a decent man, now showed his true face. A cruel bully who cast my daughter out into the cold, treating her like garbage. I was on the verge of losing it. Through the window, I saw Jake standing silently on the porch. Maybe he'd been patrolling the neighborhood. His hard gaze and clenched fist showing he'd heard and witnessed this cruelty. I gave him a slight nod, signaling him not to step in just yet. But inside, his presence was a ray of hope. I knew I wasn't alone. I had a witness, someone who knew the truth. Ryan took another step, pointing at me, dropping the mask of politeness. "I'm warning you. This is my house," he said. "Stay out of it or things will get worse." He smirked, convinced I'd back down under the Whitlock family's power. He was wrong. I clenched my fists, my knuckles cracking, feeling all the rage I'd bottled up in my life explode in that moment. The air in the room was so thick, it felt like a single spark could set it all ablaze. I locked eyes with Ryan, my voice low but sharp as a knife. "You think you can threaten me? You think you can keep hurting my daughter without paying a price? You're wrong, Ryan. I'm not letting this go." I turned to the whole Whitlock family. From Mr. Harold's cold stare to Evelyn's faint smirk to Abigail's disdainful glare. "All of you," I said, my voice echoing in the silent room. "You're going to pay for what you did too." Emily, the Whitlock's living room fell into a terrifying silence, like the air had been sucked out, leaving only a thick tension ready to explode. I placed my hand on Emily's shoulder, feeling her frail frame under the scarf, my voice steady and unwavering. "This isn't a private matter anymore. This is domestic abuse." My words landed like a stone in a still lake, rippling through everyone. Subscribe for next video. If you like this video, please tell me and comment in what you learned in this video. God bless everyone. Thanks for watching.